Hey, good morning everyone, it's Tim here. And I have something I wanted to share, and I wanted to get it out early for you this morning. So last night I was watching some YouTube videos, and one of the things that popped up in the recommended videos was the 2007 launch of the iPhone. And I don't know, I had actually watched it live back in 2007, but now I wanted to watch it again. It was kind of curious, and I'm watching the video, and something really just popped for me, and that's why I'm excited about sharing this with you today. So one of the people that I learned from is Michael Port. And Michael teaches us that when we're giving presentations and when we're delivering speeches, one of the things we need to do in order to help make a connection with our audience is to establish that we understand what the world looks like. We need to understand what the audience understands, what the world looks like to them. And then, of course, we want to show them what the world could look like. We want to help transform them. We want to help get them to think about things in a different light. And so the 2007 launch of the iPhone, I thought, was a perfect example of this. And if you go on YouTube and search it out, it's something fascinating to watch if you haven't seen it in the past. So here's the thing. In 2007, the iPhone hadn't been launched. Nobody had one. Nobody knew what it looked like. And so Steve Jobs comes out on stage, and he's doing his opening, and he's talking about the revolution of Apple, almost like a typical presentation style. And then he goes on to show a little magic dazzle that Steve usually provided in his presentations about how he was launching the iPhone. And when he said the words iPhone, I mean, at that time, I remember people were excited about the possibility of Apple launching into the phone market. So he says the words that he's doing the iPhone, and of course the crowd goes wild. This is exactly what they wanted to hear. But up until that point in the presentation, no one knew what it looked like. Nobody knew any of the features or the benefits that they had put into it. He just basically said, today this is what we're going to be launching. And then he started to do exactly what Michael Port teaches us to do, which is he showed us what the world looked like to the audience. And the way that Steve did this was that at that time, there were smartphones in the market, and he put them up on the display. He was showing them. Now, this is not a commentary on how you should do presentations from a slide perspective. I'm just explaining the video in case you don't have access to it or you don't go and watch it. But what he does is he puts up images of the phones at that time that had been created and labeled as smartphones. And then he started to show the world of what people knew. So the people that were in the audience, they more than likely would have had these phones. They would have been, knowing exactly what they had. So Steve starts out by saying, one of the things that all of these smartphones has is a very small display. More than half of the size of the unit is display, and the other half is this keyboard. And he talks about the fact that, the keyboard, yeah, it's great, but what if you need another key? And what happens if it gets sticky? And what happens if with the mouse pad at that point? It wasn't even a mouse pad, it was just a roller ball made of cheap plastic. He was tapping into the fact that the design was okay for the time. And of course everybody knew, well, how else would you do it, Steve? I mean, sure, of course we need a phone, a smartphone per se, because we're using it for communicating email and we're using it to make phone calls, so we need buttons. But then he revealed what the world could look like. So he had all of these phones, and he magically on the screen, cut out the size of the screen and showed where the keyboard was. And then when he showed the first image of the iPhone, it's all screen. And that's what he says. That the screen is going to be much bigger. Now, and then of course he goes on and he talks about all the benefits and how the keyboard's going to work and all of these great aspects of it. So it was really I thought, a great way in which to demonstrate, right, in that fact that here is a world that I understand that you are living today. I understand that you have something in your pocket that works, that is functioning, but I see the world differently. I see the world in a way that would be better. And here is how you can, how it can be better. I mean, what if I take this keyboard away and I give you something that you can touch on the screen? What if I make your screen so much bigger? What if I take your computer and put it into the phone, and now, here in 2007, where you really only get a very limited aspect of using the internet, I actually make it so that you can use the internet the same way that you can use it on your desktop, your laptop, whatever you have at the time. And the crowd goes wild because this is something that they've never seen before. But if he had started his presentation with, I've got this great new device and I'm going to put the internet on your phone and I'm going to take away your keyboard and I'm going to do all these things, people might have been okay with it, but he really made that connection first. He really said, look, you got to look at this. This is what you have. I think it could be better. I think it could be different. So revealing what the world looks like to your audience first. Establish what they know. Get them into that comfort zone where they're saying, yeah, that's right. That's the way the world looks like, what it looks like to me right now. I understand. I get it. What's your point? Well, my point is that I'm going to take you in a different direction. I'm going to get you to think differently. I'm going to make the world a better place. I'm going to improve upon it somehow. And so by doing that, by revealing to your audience first that you understand the world that they live in, and what the possibility, and then take them on the journey of what the possibilities could be. It's an effective way to build that influence. So today, what I want you to do is consider, what is it that you could put into your next presentation where the world looks like this, but I want you to think of the world like this, and put your audience on a journey with you so that you can transform them and build your influence with what you're trying to achieve. If you need help with this, if this is something that you think, boy, that sounds really interesting, how could we do that? How could we build a presentation that would do something like what Steve Jobs does, and you want some help? Connect with me. I'd love to hear from you about this. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. So number one, check out my website, timbarnaby.com. The other two ways that are best to do it, connect with me here on Facebook through my business page or LinkedIn. I really want to connect with you on LinkedIn. Go search me out there. That's the best place to reach me. And let's have a conversation about how we can make you a more influential presenter. Talk to you soon.